that, did you? Oh, I love live radio. It's so much fun. It's like, who cares? Anyway, welcome to Outside the Box Open Forum. I'm your host, Kate of Gaia, and I have Zoe going to be sitting in with me again tonight. And we're going to have some fun. Of course, it started getting real noisy around here. No sooner do I get on the air. And, of course, Blog Talk decides to change the rules a little bit. So I'm kind of, getting on to begin with. So I normally like to have a couple of minutes to chat with Carol before the show. That wasn't possible, you know. I'm not sure how this is going to work over the next little while, if I call in early enough, but couldn't get on the board until literally the last second there, as soon as the show started rolling. So I think we're making everybody nervous, and that's a good thing. I think that's a wonderful thing. So, Zoe, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good.
Excellent.
I've got something on the stove, so I might be a little noisy. I'll do my best.
That's okay. Just mute up when you're not. Oh, and you got the speakers going in the background, so I'm getting an echo. Just let it. Oh yeah. Yeah, your speakers are picking up the microphone. Pick up speakers. That's all good. Hey, you just like to let people know what's going on, and yeah, I think we're gonna. Oh, what's that? Go ahead.
Is that better?
Much better. Yeah. It's hard enough hearing myself talk the first time without hearing an echo. You think I can tolerate it? Are you kidding me? Oh man. Yeah, it's there's still a little bit of feedback. So what I will say, if you can, just mute when you're not talking and then unmute. That's kind of standard protocol I use anyway. You never know what's going to be happening in the background. All right. Did a show this afternoon with criticalmassradio.co.uk on the main station. I know a few of you caught that show, and definitely an interesting headspace. And we're gonna take you into that headspace a little bit deeper, I think, because I had mentioned about the show last night with Zoe, and it looks like nothing wants to send here on Blog Talk either. This is great. Everyone's just on a roll today. All right, so. Hey, let's have a show and not able to promo it. It's great. I think it's freaking awesome. But I was explaining a little bit about what we talked about last night with, how to trail things using the Black's Magic Law book and getting out of this illusion, distraction that we're also incredibly caught in. And if you want proof of that, every single thought you have proves that you're caught in this illusion. So we're gonna get pretty deep tonight, I think, and I'm gonna try to outline a few things. There's an interesting little video. I've seen it a while back and I revisited it. Let me just make sure I got the name of it right. I have it on my desktop. I brought it out just for this, so I could get it right. Illuminati Matrix: What in the World is Happening? And you can get that on YouTube. It's about 35 minutes long, and it gives you a rather poignant mirror of effectively everything I'm talking about. There's a few things in it that I've got a sort of a different energy on, but that's not to say that I'm right and it's not. This is me searching to see what's going to resonate or not. But I'll tell you, the one thing that does resonate is we are caught in an illusion of light. That's why they worship Lucifer. And I've said it many times before, and we'll continue to say it. We got duped hardcore, right? Where everything is in the mirror here, and I mean everything. The governments you thought were supposed to be looking after you aren't. The religions that are talking of a God of love isn't, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So that's a pretty good indicator as to what the trends are. So I'll start my own trends institute in regards to the ether instead of what's going on in this physical drama world. So that being said, if you can imagine, right, that everything that you're looking out at is, and I talked about this about 2.5 years ago, and it never left, and I was still trying to find out, resonate more to it, but if you can get the notion that your eyes are actually projecting versus picking up the light, right? Because you are light, right? You are the creative source of power that needed to be manipulated in order to generate this illusion. We talked about the all-knowing having no power to create, and the all-unknowing having all the power to create. So what a perfect tool. Hey, let's get dopey with all the creative power and manipulate the shit out of it. And here we are, dopey. We come walking up, hey, how's it going? And they decide to plant a seed, a thought, as in the Egyptian god thought. So they plant this seed and a concept, and we've been running around in circles ever since. So if you get the notion that everything that you're looking at is not being reflected to you, it's actually what you're projecting. And because we're all part of a consciousness, it's very easy to take all those different points of consciousness and have them projecting the same thing, as long as they're running on the same program. It makes total sense. It'd be like having 7 billion cameras running at all different angles of a game. And one hell of a director, supercomputer, call it whatever you want, who cares? But these are the kind of things that I ponder in my own attempt to get back to the present versus an afterthought. Because everything that you think, who knows if it's yours or not? And this is the real problem. And when we've been duped to the level we've been duped, the only thing we have left to count on is, one, ourself, and two, our ability to see things that are hidden, to look beyond the veil. And what we talked about last night, Zoe and myself, what we've talked about is trying to show some of that magic that you all have the ability to see, and this place becomes very surreal very quickly. And it gets kind of funny too. Yeah, painfully so, I gotta tell you. But anyway, this video, if you have take a half, I think it's only about a half hour long. It's not long, and they cover a lot of really intense concepts, and I can still feel the essence of this beautiful ethereal concept with a bit of physical realm tugging. So what I'm trying to do is to sort out what my role, what we were doing before we had this seed of thought planted in us to create somebody else's illusion. And if we're creating for somebody else and they have control over us, because they can never own us, never. That's an impossibility, right? It's part of the fabric. You can't do that. But what they can do is get us to a point where we'll create whatever they want. And we can talk about these entities as, we talk about the dark principalities. Well, I'm going to call them exactly what they are. This light principality that has us projecting their light for them, using our light as creation. And in that guise of the trap, if you will, we're literally creating our own prison. So I think it's time to stop projecting. I think one of the quotes I used before when I was talking about this concept was somebody hijacked the projector and they're running their movie and we're the ones powering it. And it kind of falls exactly. I revisited this video again today. I watched it about a week ago, and thanks. I love people who decide to cut lawns at this time of night. Anyway, what are the odds? All right. Sorry, just a little distracted, right? Yeah, promo didn't work even though... Oh, it did work? Oh, okay, because it's saying it's sending fail. Thanks, Ninj. So anyway, one sec. Okay. Somebody's got a lawnmower out cutting grass. It was cut yesterday. That's pretty cool. Oh well, not to worry. All right. Now you got to see what I'm seeing from here. This is pretty funny, actually. But anyway, that's all good, right? Yes, Lucifer is definitely the light bearer, and I'm very hesitant tonight because I'm going to come at you with some pretty deep shit, and I don't know if you can handle it or not. Because what it does is it flips everything over on its head. We can talk about all the good things about light and what it creates and all the rest of it, but it's not. See, here's the joke. It's not the sun creating it. That's our projection. It's us creating it. Yeah, I wish this guy would just go cut a lawn somewhere in Saskatchewan. That would be handy. But anyway, how annoying is that? I think I might actually do a tune and start throwing stuff at this guy. Hang on a sec. You know, here. I'm going to toss the tune on while I gather my thoughts. Because this guy, you see what they do? They, hey, let's manifest a guy cutting grass while Kate's on the air. That should distract her. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna throw a tune on. Skype room. Any requests for? And I'm gonna go for it. Don't worry, Nav. There's no question. I'm just trying to give myself my own disclaimer here, so when I throw this kind of stuff out there, no, I'm on air, Steve. Just one sec. Just answering some stuff here. Anyway, I'm gonna go to a tune and see if this guy decides to ship out. So give me a second here. Oh, I did. I asked for a request. Love and Stuff Room. Anybody got any requests? That would be awesome. And somebody's posted. Bayou it is. Okay. Way to go, Bobo. Good call. See, just in time. As soon as I get to the song, Buddy turns the lawnmower off. All right, here we go. Bayou Lullaby, and then we're gonna get real deep, real hard, real fast when I get back.
Hush now softly, can't you hear? Mockingbird, she must be near. She sings her song, the Bayou Lullaby. Misty morning, lazy sun, broken only by the river run. Mississippi River, take me in your arms. Take me in your arms for just another day. Floating by, I can clearly see Baton Rouge to eternity, New Orleans backwards into time. The Delta blues are more than song, broken dreams long lost and gone like a cotton field, laying falling by the wind. But that's the way it is, that's the way it is. Wouldn't want it any other way. Friendly smiles enough to say, yeah, it'll be alright, and I don't have to worry none. Friendly word or a passing wave makes southern sense when I'm away, and I'm just glad I'm back where I belong. I'm back where I belong. All my worries, all my fears, up and leave me, they just disappear. Like so much nothing, so much for taking time. 'Cause on the water or on the shore, this is home and so much more. Old man river, take me in your arms. Take me in your arms. I'm home sweet home again. Wouldn't want it any other way. Friendly smiles enough to say, yeah, it'll be alright, and I don't have to worry none. Friendly word or a passing wave makes southern sense when I'm away, and I'm just glad I'm back where I belong. I'm back where I belong. Hush now softly, can't you hear? The mockingbird, she must be near. She sings her song, the Bayou Lullaby.
Okay, and we're back. All right. Yeah, good call, Bobo. That was I haven't heard that one in a little while. And Zoe, we have you, yes?
Yep.
Okay, just I was trying to buy you a little stove time there, that's all.
Well, you did a great job. It's off.
Okay, yeah, just kind of get
How's the echo?
Oh, it's great. That's much better.
All right. Excellent.
There isn't one. I love that. Anyway, this is an old rabbit hole that I revisited, and it was ultimately triggered again by someone who posted. I got to go to Facebook. I always like to credit people that are on trails, and they might not even realize it. But I definitely want to share this one. Anyway, they had put up a post on my Facebook today with regards to calcite crystals and the pineal gland actually having calcite crystals within it, right? And of course, we all talk about the calcification of the pineal gland with fluoride and what have you. And you see, here's the thing: the more calcified your crystal radio set is, your control mechanism, the easier it is for you to be caught in the illusions. So, and this is going to go both. I mean, I've went back and forth on this so many times, and every time it peels one more layer off, and I always get put back in the mirror with it. So, this has been a constant ebb and flow, a constant pendulum back and forth from one side to the other to find that balance. Now, we can all talk about the Christ consciousness or the Christ all crystal consciousness, and with what I've said in mind, can you dare to look at it and say that it's not a good thing? Where they've done a beautiful job of pitting one against the other in this book called the Bible. And then I got to thinking, and this is a long time ago, and I'm bringing it back into view again. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense to make it look like there's two sides and actually have both sides working for the same, like a triple agent, as it were, instead of a double agent? And I mean, this is how my mind goes. This is when I shut down, I'm looking everywhere, every which way but loose. And loose, actually, because we looked that up last night. But if you follow what I'm saying here, it's like, it was a very long time ago that I started seeing the play off of this Lucifer character being light and being made to look like the bad guy, the fallen one, and all the rest of it, and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, well, wouldn't it be interesting if this Lucifer character was actually the good guy and the other ones that were made out to be the good guy were actually the bad guys? So that was my first experience with a very extreme mirror in terms of religion. And then, of course, I'm putting it back in the mirror again. Because for me, again, if you want to catch a serial killer or a god thief, you got to start thinking like one. Not actually doing what they do, but start thinking. If I were all-knowing and had the tools available to me to dupe the hell out of the unknowing and get all their power, what would I do to keep them, running back and forth constantly? Well, I'd give them the same thing in a duality. I would give them something that showed good and evil, where they would pick one side or the other when actually both of them were working on the same thing. And it really, for me, it just comes down to meditation. I mean, it is this simple, guys. It's about getting into the deep dark, because only when we stop our thoughts. And like I said, my lesson with Gemini says, I think, same with Zoe, right? So what I had to learn in that mirror was, I don't think. And that for me was a clue to put it in the mirror and try that. So what I've been doing over the last few years, more so over the last couple of days, is really going back down some very old rabbit holes that I went down and went, nah, it couldn't be, right? And the more I look at it now and bringing those things back into view, I'm not saying, nah, it couldn't be anymore, because anything goes in this game. All's fair in love and war, baby. It's kind of how it works. So, I'm going to retouch on that. I'm going to let that idea sink in, that perhaps you've got both of these entities. And of course, they have to tell you everything, right? That keeps it fair. If you can see the truth of what's actually being said and not be caught up in the distraction of the good versus evil game that's going on there, it's there. It has to be there. because the duality of it being there in plain sight, our duality is it's there in plain sight and we're just not seeing it. So I'm just choosing to step back even further from this mirror to look a little bit deeper. But yeah, there was a couple of things I want. And do you think I can remember right now, Zoe, what we talked about yesterday? No, not a chance.
No, I can't say I totally remember, but I'm trying to think. We were talking about walls, messages. I definitely agree with this duality they have us locked into. They've got nothing to worry about. We're too busy judging and condemning each other that it's such a distraction.
Agreed.
Yeah, everybody's looking for status. Everybody's looking over their fence to see if you're planting the wrong vegetables so they can have a hanging party and condemn you right there and then. And I've even seen it on some of our groups where somebody will handle something in court, and I give them kudos for going into court and trying something, and everybody just sits back and judges them and condemns them rather than give them credit for having the courage to do what they did. And when I see that mentality, I think the other side has absolutely nothing to worry about. We're too busy hanging our own.
I couldn't agree more, you know. And I go right back to that Judge Bow's video. I mean, there were thousands of posts. I know. I read a lot of them. And everybody was so busy saying, you know, what I did right, what I did wrong, and blah, blah, blah. And I didn't care. I'm looking at it going, are you missing the point here? This is
I can remember when you were going through your ordeal last year, and there was so much judgment coming through. He should have done this, he should have done that. And I can remember saying to somebody, well, what did you do when you were in court? Everybody shut up, because none of them had actually been there. So everybody was making their own judgment based upon theoretical, never actually having gone to do it.
Yeah, they're sitting watching the hockey game while those of us are out on the rink shooting the puck around. Oh, you should have played it over there, you know that.
And when you see that mentality, I think, you know what, the so-called powers that be have absolutely nothing to worry about. You know.
Yeah, they have you exactly where they want you in your duality ego, and the longer people bicker and judge and look at things as having, you know, we do it this way or it's wrong. There's no such thing as right and wrong. That is a duality. What we're looking for is how to get out of this little mess.
Exactly.
This physical.
And to give anybody kudos for anything, you know. We've all been there where we're driving down the road and all of a sudden there's that vehicle behind us and we get that panic, you know. And how we handle it, to each his own, but give people credit and kudos and help support each other, not knock each other down.
Yeah, that is spot on. And you see, and I've encountered this hundreds, if not thousands, of times, where people get into situations, and I don't mind people calling or whatever, but what I experience with that is there are situations that people get into and they get in a comfort zone. That, okay, well, I really don't have to work at it because I've got so-and-so at my fingertips if I need them. And that's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. You're not going to get.
It's not? Darn it.
Yeah.
I mean that in jest, but yeah.
Yeah. It's not? Really? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're here to save yourself, you know, but one shall awaken, and you could be it, right? I could be it. Who cares? Doesn't matter. One of us has to awaken, and only one, because that takes care of the whole projector and the whole projection of what this nightmare actually entails. So, breathe. You know, sit back and breathe, and take the time. If you're presented with a situation, there's something in it that you need to learn. Just like my situations of things that I had to go through were things that I had to learn in my experience. And I've said this many times, and I keep saying that many times too. If you go out and try to use somebody else's, quote, process, unquote, and you screw it up, the first thing that people do is they blame the person that had the idea, you know. like, again, shortly after that video, I had someone saying, there could be like 40,000 people going into court trying to do that, and they're going to jail and stuff. And I said, my attitude was, yeah, so?
Exactly. I like that. Yeah, like this is what I mean is, yeah, people just want to watch and they want answers. And then if you were to give them an answer that works for you and they try it and it doesn't, they come running to you. And it's, yeah, if we're here, if we're sitting in a situation where we're seen as being disabled, mentally incapacitated, and you can't function unless you're following somebody else constantly, then there's good reason to be called incapacitated. It's time we grew up. Our education system sucks, but we're not in school anymore. It's time to educate ourselves.
And we begin by forgetting everything we thought we knew because it's all illusion. Exactly.
Exactly. Start opening your mind to other venues. Start thinking maybe there's something to how we've been taught. This repetition, this repetition and answers dumbs us down. And then we get on shows, and what do we want? We want to hear over and over again the answers. So it's done a very good job, and it's time to learn something different.
Yeah, that's why these shows that we're doing are completely against what I have to say, what anything I've ever heard on radio is all about. Because what we're doing here is looking at the illusion for what it is, and we're asking why. What would be the purpose? Why would they want to dumb you down? Why would they want to keep you penned up? Well, they want to keep you asleep. Because the longer we sleep, the more their creation devastates our void.
Exactly. And that's an excellent question. What is it about us that they want to sleep?
Well, it's like this. If I had an infinite power source that was too dumb to realize it and got walked into a trap, because we were the unknowing, and of course they still have, here's the magic of this, they tell you everything, and this is where we have to just stop and really find that solace within, that silence, because only in that silence, I'll tell you, there's one truth that I know, that I absolutely know beyond a shadow of any doubt, is getting into that no thinking. And it's very difficult to do. And I've had the lightning bolt hits, like it feels like a bolt of lightning going through you. It's almost like somebody smacking you on the back of the head. It's not painful. It's like, wow. Those are the moments that I'm speaking of, because the truth will come at you when you connect, when you finally override the transceiver pineal that has been calcified as like a crystal in a radio to generate the projections, because you are God, creation itself. And I know this is hard for most people to know, let alone believe. Okay, when you understand that you are absolute creation in a very, very devastated, unknowing form of knowing how to use that, there are those that. Let me put it on a scale for you. This will probably clarify it a bit further. And I was thinking, how do I tell them this today? All right. We have the all-knowing and the unknowing, but there has to be parts of us all the way down and all the way up to the almost all-knowing, to the almost all-unknowing, and varying degrees, right up to neutral, all-knowing, all-unknowing at the same time, 0 point. And my intuitive, this is going back a few years, my intuitive said to me this: well, if there are those that are not quite all-knowing, but all-knowing to a very, incredible level, let's say that intent kind of went south, where they wanted to be the all-knowing and all-powerful. So they tried to, one part of our consciousness says, well, I'm going to see if I can trick the rest of the consciousness to what I want. And see, here's the saving grace, though. The fail-safe is always there. The all-knowing is always there. But this game has to play out. There's no two ways about it. We got to play it out. We started it, we finish it. Or we don't. Who knows? It's infinite, right? That almost all-knowing aspect that went south a little bit in terms of good versus evil is exactly what I feel is what's trying to control this game. And it's a collective group. It won't just be one. I can see a handful of sparks of consciousness getting together and coming up with this brilliant let's take it all over thing. And then we'll be God all by ourselves. And although they're not all knowing, it doesn't matter. That there's some serious purpose there to get us to be everything that they want us to do for them and create for them. And we've been falling for it. We've been falling for it hardcore. So it's time to stop. Now that might have been a bit confusing, probably a lot confusing, but that's how I see it. And what do we have to remember? What do we have to get back to? And the only thing I see getting in the way here is thought. It's the only thing. Because in meditation, if you are babbling it all in your mind and you can't find that stillness, you won't get the lightning bolt. Bill Donahue talks about it quite regularly. I was talking to Santo yesterday, and he's had these moments as well. And I'm sure many of you have had them too. You know what I'm speaking of. It just feels like an electric shock going through you. In your head. It's really cool, actually. I like it. What happens in that instant, is what I feel for it, is the pineal, the radio transceiver, for that instant was jammed. This is about jamming the transceiver so that this information can't get in to be projected out. And when you do that, you get, for that lightning instant, you get complete access to your higher self, the all-knowing. And in that you get, I call them downloads, direct downloads. So when you get that, you've got something new to work with. And you may not be aware of it right away. But one of the things I do notice after that kind of thing happens is new ideas start, popping into view, and new ways of looking at things, where epiphanies come out a lot faster. And I mean, I've had weeks where it was like non-stop, and I couldn't handle the downloads. I mean, I went through 3 days solid of it last summer when I was defragging the language, and it was solid. I couldn't sleep. I was going to bed at like 2 o'clock in the morning and waking up exactly at 6. That happened 3 days in a row, and right on the money. And as soon as I wake up, it was like this information overload was coming in, and I was working my best to try to. I felt like Johnny Mnemonic, when I don't know if you ever seen the movie. He was an information courier, and he could only carry so much information in his brain before his brain would melt down. He had to get rid of it because it was overloading him, and that's exactly how I felt for 3 days. But yeah, is that sort of helpful, Zoe? At all?
Yeah, I kind of know what you mean. I've had my share of downloads, and sometimes they're not the most pleasant. But no. It's in the end, once you settle down, it's worth it.
Oh, exactly. I mean, and it calms itself out. I mean, I've had...
Well, I also look at it as that we've had a foundation that is inaccurate. Mm-hmm. And what happens is we can build upon a foundation that is decrepit, or you can sort of go back, like download it and go back to the original foundation and start all over again. And every time you do that, you come out different because you're working on the foundation.
Yeah, and absolutely. I want to get into the allegories and definitely showing certain themes that are occurring. For me right now, what I'm focused on and what I'm trying to unforget is, what was the first thought that got planted that I bought to get me to hand over the reins of my projector? And that's kind of where I'm putting all my attention focus right now. Yeah, let's get into the allegories. So we talked about one last night with Harriet Tubman, and the black race as being slaves, as an allegory to that we're all slaves, and we need to get back to the jet black of our void. So
well, another thing that shows up a lot is the missing colony. You have the missing colony in Roanoke Island or Virginia.
Yep.
You've got the missing tribe, the missing Jewish tribe. There's always they're always trying to tell us that there's a missing group out there, and there's no explanation where they went, but there's always a thing that there's this missing group of people. And there's a part of me that makes me wonder if they're trying to say it's us, because we're behind a wall.
Oh, agreed.
And so that comes up quite a bit. And another thing too that comes up quite a bit is in a lot of, and you see this in children's tales, and notice that Disney's bringing out a lot of these new movies again. The Wicked Queen, like Her Majesty, shows up a lot. The wicked stepmother, the one that took you in, to keep you safe, and that you had to be grateful and work your ass off from then on in. But you will see these things showing up in allegories, like and they've been around for a very long time, but they're always trying to tell us something. And they're still there, and Her Majesty is still there. And I think now we're at a place where the information's getting to us that we can stop and look around and go, hey, I got one of those.
Oh, just trying to unmute there. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and again, it's about looking at things with different eyes. Do not be entertained. Look at the messages that are there. And we talked about this last night, and I talked about it a bit today as well. It doesn't matter what your interests are. It doesn't matter what floats your boat, sinks your anchor kind of thing. All that matters is that you look in that thing that you find the most passionate, because here's the irony of it. While here's a real life example. You were on the Harriet Tubman trail, right?
Yeah.
And I went off on the Postman trail, and lo and behold, we kind of met at the same place, didn't we?
Yes, actually, I did. And I've had that happen before.
Right.
Where, Duke was on the trail of the post office. And because my research was dead, I decided I'd look into Duke's. And sure enough, it led me straight back to the Exchequer.
Yeah, that was your trail to begin with.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, Duke and I realized we were on the same trail. So we hooked up more and started to do joint research. But you'll find that somebody, they're saying, oh, it's over here, and you're going, no, it's over there. And when you get to the end, you'll find you're going to meet each other.
Yeah,
they're actually the same.
In the same place. It's the same story,
Yeah, and it keeps repeating, and it's all really connected. And another thing, too, I've started to realize is that and this is, I think, the most important, because I had a difficult time with this, where I thought there was only one answer, and I was searching everywhere for the one answer, or the one guru that could give me that one answer. And you get to a place where when you get to see the bigger picture, it's like, oh my gosh, there's so many doors, which one do I pick? There is no one answer.
No.
There's a lot of answers and a lot of doors, and just start doing your research and look at what they're telling you in stories. And the allegories are great, and they're present tense. They tell you, oh, this happened, way back in the Bible. Yeah. No, hello.
Now.
We never got out of Egypt.
Nope.
Somebody did, but it wasn't us. But maybe they're telling us to do it. If we knew exactly what they were saying, and maybe we need to stop listening to what the education system said our words were, and pick up a book and look for ourselves. So it's, yeah, and so this is what I'm saying is, if I dismiss somebody today because it's not where I'm going, it doesn't mean I'm not going to catch up to them later.
Well, exactly, and I think, to put it in a nutshell, what we're trying to tell you is there is no wrong place to look, and there's no right place to look. You just look, and when you start resonating with certain things, you get into looking at things from the allegorical, as we've been talking about the Bible, for example. It's all allegorical. And only when you start peeling off the layers to see what is really being said. Here's the example for any new people listening. You've heard the line, the wife must be subservient to the husband. Look at the wedding vows, to be obedient and all the rest of it, right? That is the literal teaching of the Bible. But what it's actually saying is this. Anything feminine is relating to the emotions, and anything masculine is relating to the mind. So we'll say it again with that understanding, now that you have the truth of it. And there's lots of really cool layers in there as well, but this is the basic tenet of it. The wife must be subservient to the husband. Translates into the emotions must be subservient to the mind. Now imagine being all emotional and out of control. You've probably met some people like that. Typically they're the ones in features at the football game that are blind drunk. The ones I mean. And actually a lot of people that don't even need that to be ruled by their emotions. And those people as well. They're completely out of control, out of balance. And the trick here is to bring that chaos emotion into order with the mind. And I'm not using, quote, Illuminati terminology here. Just keep that in mind. I'm just trying to give you the example. Yeah, because I can show you chaos in both very easily. Oh, I was going to share that last night. Here's how chaos actually creates order. And I figured this out making a pot of soup one day. I'm looking at the soup and throwing the spices and stuff into it, and as I'm stirring it, all the spices are dispersing nicely, and I got to thinking, isn't it interesting that, you can take a spoonful of soup from the top of the pot, and right when you get to the bottom of the pot, it all tastes the same. Why? Well, because everything, with all the chaos of stirring it, you have dispersed, and I've said this too, I would surmise that if you kept stirring something long enough, creating enough chaos, that every grain of pepper, for example, would be equally spaced from the next. And you can measure that with laser, So there's your order out of chaos, all right? By putting chaos into it, you create order, and vice versa. So it's a mirror. It's all a mirror and a duality. So we have to start looking at singularity, start looking allegorically at things. There was another allegory that I was thinking of there a little while ago.
There's another thing that's coming up quite a bit, and I think it's worth looking into, and that is the mixed blood. You see a lot of, the vampire, werewolf, and how now getting together, and the offspring is a combination. And the movie Australia was another one where it showed the children that were half Aboriginal and half white were being taken off by the church. And that's another thing too that's showing up is this this mixture of blood being segregated and taken away off somewhere. Probably slaves, who knows? But that is another theme and another allegory that we're seeing quite a bit that resonates with me. And it's funny because you had said about how our radio's gone down. And in the movie Australia, they take them off to an island where the radios are. And, of course, the Japanese come in, and what's the first thing they do? They take the radios out. And that seems to be another thing, is the first thing that happens in any war is go after the radios.
I said it in Star Wars. When I guess the first one of the final three came out, when they were under attack, the first thing they attacked was communications. Yes. It's always communications. Now,
and I believe also, too, that is still what we're dealing with. I think that communication, how it's coming to us isn't how we recognize it because of our beautiful education system. but it is there, which is why we have to rethink. It's like our intellect has been hijacked, and it's up to us to reclaim it and start to look at, okay, let's say I'm in a concentration camp, and somebody wanted to help me. Where do I start looking? What does it look like? You know, and start to think differently.
Yeah, I agree totally. See, when you were talking there, we were talking about radios. The first resonant thought that came to me was carrier waves, and that's one of the things that a lot of people. I mean, now that I've said it, all these different examples of it just popped into my head, where they would Star Trek, Next Generation, they would send out messages of carrier waves, right? So they couldn't be found. They send out carrier waves through your TV in the 60 hertz as part of a program. That's why, you know, lose your TV. And seriously, just unplug the damn thing and don't ever turn it on again, unless you want the mind to be free. Another thing with smart meters, of course, now they're, you know, trying to blanket entire neighborhoods, but it's not. See, and this is not fear porn either, because once you realize that that's what it's doing, you've already nullified it. That you're not going to have it affect you. The only thing that can affect you is something that you're not aware of. Let's go to real life here. You know, someone that knows nothing about what we're speaking of gets pulled over by one of the armed dogs, and they'll just hand over their license, everything else, and we've all done it. And okay, it's only $150 fine. All right, I'll try to be nicer next time, kind of thing. And versus how we would handle it now. Yeah, bike asshole. Let's play, right? Because we have a different level of knowingness, and we're not just going to roll over. We're going to take ourselves and put our mind over this matter. And it's the same thing in the ethereal. Once you understand it, for example, like you know, everyone was into the fear thing with Fukushima and what have you. But here's the joy of your DNA, because your DNA will adjust to it. But your mind's got to be right, right? Your program will adjust to protect itself, without question. You don't have to do a thing. And I brought up the urine therapy thing this morning. You want to heal your DNA with your own program, well, then start recycling that golden elixir that has all the answers for your body that was given by your kidneys, right? Remember, all the organs have different frequencies? Okay? All right, just putting that in out there for you.
Well, I would just like to say that I think you first brought it up about 6 months ago, and I snickered and I thought, no, Kate's really lost it. No way. No way. Well, I've been doing it 3 months now, and I can tell everybody out there Kate's dead on. So,
pretty wild,
yeah,
eh?
Yeah, like I said, you know, I love you, Kate, but when you were talking about it, it's like
you've gone off deep end.
Yeah, I thought, well, yeah, he's obviously, been on the air a little too long. I don't know what I thought, but I'm now, not only am I into it, but my partner and my sister and some of my friends. So, and we do see exactly what it is you're saying. And just to say that I've been guilty too of looking at someone and going, oh no, they're way off, only to be proven wrong.
Well, again, it's that whole acceptance thing, right? And that's what most of us have. Me too. We all have a problem with acceptance. And
it's trying it too. Like, I remember the first time I tried it, it wasn't what I expected. And sometimes, it sounds terrible until you try something new, whether, you know, and then you go, oh, okay, I get it. I'm still alive. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the joy of it, right? If you want to fix your transceiver, your pineal, if you want to decalcify it in short order, there it is. There's your answer. It's just like that. Because I got to tell you, like, within a day or two of starting that, I was already getting downloads, but oh my God, it was a whole new game. And transceiver. We'll call the radio. We'll just call it a radio. Two-way radio. your pineal. That is your direct connect to the higher self. And I drew a picture of this once in my office, and I don't know where it went, but what I was trying to do was to show the higher self and connected through the pineal, one eye projecting the image, the other eye observing the image, right? And trillions of times per second kind of thing. And I was trying to create a semblance of a loop that I could comprehend. And it makes more sense that, well, you look at the Illuminati, they always cover one eye, right? That's kind of one of their clues. Sort of a trail you followed once, hey? Because of that. Now, when you get the notion that you're like the Lucifer telescope, your binocular vision is actually in duality, and it's creating this whole illusion around you based on thought. Your radio is getting overrode. So what happens is when we start decalcifying it, right? Go back to the call site. So call your sight back and get rid of the crystal, because it's calcite crystals that are in there that need to be turned back into the purest form of you if you want to get into creation itself, water and the frequency thereof. That's how I see the void. It's all, water, hydrogen, oxygen. But I know this is even hard for me to try to explain to people. And based on a couple of things that came flying in at me today, I generally need a day or two just to try to coalesce my own thoughts to get them into play here. But I cannot stress enough that it does not matter where you look. Whatever subject of interest that fascinates you and whatever, all the answers are there. All roads lead to Rome, or Amor, if you will. Okay? Every single road. I don't care if you take a bike, if you walk, if you, hang glide, fly, hopscotch, pogo stick. Simple truth is, regardless of what interests you and how you want to get there, you're still going to get there. And that is, for me, one of the most basic truisms that I ever found. Because it didn't matter that I looked in Gravity Falls to find Invocation of the Cross. I could have looked anywhere. But I just love, especially blatant cartoons like Gravity Falls. You've heard me talk about The Wizard of Oz. Every answer you need is in The Wizard of Oz. Every answer you need is in Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. Every answer you need is in Oblivion. It's in music videos. It's in everything. It's in your history books. How are you reading them? Are you reading them as something of the past, or are you reading them as they should be in the now? The Bible is a now book. It's not a past or a historical. It's a now code book. Same with Black's Law. There is only now. We've been given the illusion of space and time in order for this creation, our very heavily overridden pineal gland, and we are being tapped for our divine feminine creative essence of spirituality, of the void of creation, in order to keep manifesting more and more lights of theirs that we become more and more worshipful for. Because when you're looking out at things going, ooh and ah, you're actually worshiping someone else's creation. In this little video, The Matrix, when I discussed, they reference Genesis, and God created light and saw that it was good. And there automatically is a duality implanted. Well, if God's saying light is good, then that must mean that everything else, dark, is evil. So it's another mirror. So look at it correctly, reverse it. Look at it. I've said this before. We're only going to get out of here by reversing, and that's bringing your own light into truth of your true divine self. And go ahead.
I was going to just cut in, and it took me a while to accept this, but it really does resonate. And that is, if you look in the Bible, it's got God, and then it's got Lord God, and et cetera, et cetera. And the Moors, and I believe they're correct on this assumption, and they say that God is the government ordinance department, which makes sense in my research because mine shows that there's the House of Lords, which would be Lord God, which is over, let's say, factory gods, government ordinances department. So I do believe there is a supreme being, but I think that is actually has always been left to us to define. So the Bible, to me, is basically telling you about the structure around you. And there's a beautiful Kate Bush song where it's called Running Up That Hill, where she says, if I could, I'd make a deal with God and I'd get him to swap our places, which is the way it was supposed to be with the government ordinance department. And so I just wanted to cut in with my take on the words that are being used that are being used against us. Like there is, it's up to us to define our own supreme being, but what we have in words is just them saying, see, we're God, ha ha. But I believe the Moors are correct in that assumption.
I think so as well. And yeah, I told you this was going to be a heavy one tonight. It's, when you finally get to the point, and I'm not quite there yet, but I'm almost there because I see it more and more every day with regards to the words. When you come to the point of realization that every word that you utter means what you intend and the exact opposite, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to be saying anything, does it? Because that's what we're doing. We're just babbling. So anyway, Steve, I just brought you into the call there. You said you had something to add, so I'm looking forward to hearing it.
Well, good evening, my friend. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Had a very nice day, and I was sitting here listening to your conversation, and I've been trying to reverse myself quite a bit here the last few months, and really zero in on my perceptions of things and gain a better understanding, because I've been thrown into another open door situation, and we're going forward with it. So it was kind of at a point where I needed to reevaluate some things. And you've been talking about duality, and I've been kind of looking at all those dualities in my life, and looking at the crystal of the pineal, and trying to get that little puppy opened up. And something really interesting, I think I did mention a little bit of it to you here a while back, that about maybe about 4 months ago, I picked up this really strange medium volume, high frequency, oscillating, almost pulsing sound in my left ear only. And I have it all the time. It doesn't bother me. I can get by without it, but it has been a very constant frequency that's coming to me for some reason. And then about maybe 4 weeks ago, I woke up one morning, and I'm sitting there having a cup of coffee, and all of a sudden I'm hearing another sound coming out of my right ear. Now, I had no sound at all in my right ear. I could hear perfectly fine. No high-pitched frequency, no nothing. And I'm listening to these two sounds going off at the same time. And I got one that's a solid oscillating frequency in my left ear. So I'm thinking left ear, right brain, Now all of a sudden, a few weeks now, I've had this right ear, left brain thing on, and it's coming in as Morse code. It's a high-frequency Morse code. I mentioned the other night when I was listening to your show, and I think you picked up on it too, that there was a high-frequency Morse code going off in the background, and it's been really strange. So I've been looking for an interpretation. It's almost as if the left side is trying to block the right side's feeding me information, but I'm looking for a translation. So it's been an interesting experience. That's the duality of it. One is interference and one's information. Sounds kind of weird, I guess.
No, not at all. That makes complete, utter sense to me. And what I've been trying to do more lately is to get people into a more frequency-minded state of being versus physical, because what we're dealing with here is the purest energy of all, and that's your energy of creation, and it has been hijacked. The projector has been hijacked, and we had to step into it of our own free will consent. And the only thing that's resonating with me anymore at this point is trying to get back in in my consciousness, or consciousness in general, before that thought overrode it, and what caused me to step in, what was the illusion that I fell for, that got me to a point where my very creative essence is being tapped by someone or something, of course consciousness, that kind of lost its way. You know, again, the only thing that makes sense to me and that feels right is something very close to all-knowing, but not quite all-knowing, and has just went into trying to be the all-knowing God mode, because there's something that aspect of our consciousness doesn't have that the all-knowing does. So I know this gets pretty heady and pretty deep, but this whole oscillating frequency thing doesn't surprise me at all, because one of the things that I found, and I think many people have probably found, like yourself, is you start becoming aware of certain frequencies. And I've heard it said often that the moon is actually where a lot of these frequencies of control are being generated from. Because we are caught in a physical manifestation, and of course there's going to be other physical manifestations in our particular realm that are going to be obviously working for this, Luciferian construct of light, to keep the workers in the factory, as it were. So it makes total sense. So when you were talking there, I got the sense of one frequency trying to outdo the other. So your higher self is combating that radio interference, and that's one of the things with me. To hear that pitch, what I often referenced as, well, that's my frequency, but it's not. That is a frequency that is obviously used to override my pineal, to allow someone else to use my energy, my creative power in an unknowing way, to create their Luciferian construct. I mean, look at the night sky. It's just littered with poison.
Yeah, you're right. Planets' frequencies are changing at the moment also. And if you go back into some of the ancient Gnostic texts, where it talks about the fact that Gaia, the moon, and the sun made the original entity, and that the archons created the rest of the machinations of the solar system as far as the other planets, then that could be why we run into frequency problems.
There's that unmuting thing again. Sorry about that. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it just takes us to stand back. Just stand back a little bit instead of taking everything that we've been told for granted. Because now I think most of us can have the assumption that everything we were told was absolute bullshit. So it's time for us to, take control of our radio towers. That movie you were talking about, Australia, Zoe?
Yep.
Yeah, I remember that one quite well.
And it's interesting. So, have you tried to decipher it and find out because you're picking it up. So maybe there's something there for you. Like, have you tried to decipher it?
No, actually, I'm glad you brought that movie back into view for me. I'll definitely have a look at it again. I saw it once, and I'm going to have a look at it again, because everything's an allegory. It's all the same story.
And I have a suspicion, because the radios went down, I think Steve can pick it up. It's got to be rebuilt somehow. Whether or not somehow we have the net because it was created as a replacement. I believe that they are trying to repair the radios. I think you're right. And I think we're in a position where we can help. And Steve, what you might be picking up is you're more sensitive and can pick it up easier.
Yeah.
Well, there's a possibility, because I've always been the kind of person that couldn't wear a battery-operated watch because I'd kill the battery in 2 days. and things of that nature. But I'm definitely, this is a signal of some kind, and it's hard to figure out what it's saying. But I know that that's the message that I need to find.
I think it's fascinating. I'd like to hear, like, if you can put more together what it's saying.
Yeah, I was talking with someone about that today, and we're working together with that to try to decipher what the message is. Because what's going on in my world right now, I know definitely that there's a battle going on the right and the left side, and I understand what it is, but it's all frequency, and I can't. I was picking up words back last fall and up into the winter, and then I couldn't bring the words in, and now it's turned just back to a Morse code frequency. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, boy, that doesn't sound unusual at all to me. This is like, okay, finally, some people are picking this shit up. Good. Okay. Well, you're Aries, so you're already stuck in heaven, right? So
you bet. All in the head, my friend.
Yeah, well, that's where people, Gemini's like Zoe and I got our wings flapping out trying to go pick up the messages for others. Yeah. Again, and it goes back to what know thyself, and don't get caught in the belief structure of worship. Okay. I look at things like...
I got out of that when I was 11 years old. I left the Catholic Church. I never looked back.
Oh, exactly. And, it looks like we have Mim chiming in here. And I'm going to bring her in right away because Mim got the last word last night, because no sooner did she finish talking that we got knocked.
Yeah, bang out.
but they let you finish, Mim, so well done. Oh, that's what... Yeah, I just opened your mic there. Yeah, there it is. Hey, Mim, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's wonderful to join you and Zoe, Kate, and Steve tonight. I always love it when Steve comes in and shares. And so many things are running through my mind, but I wanted to tell you about an experience I had last night and into today that was a ciphering day. And what happened was last evening I was listening to Dr. Lynn Horowitz on YouTube on something that he had done from back in 2011. Where he was talking about the color of yellow-green, which is the heart chakra color of love. And he was explaining about what's happening basically with the ascension and the expansion that we're going through. And it led into something that happened to me today. I spent some time with my prayer partner, and we were doing this intention thing for ourselves and our loved ones, but specifically, just declaring over, myself, for me, I am of the light, and it is my intention that, whatever I do will be of the light and for the highest good of all, and the Ho'oponopono. And after we finished, I needed to go get gas, and I pulled up in my phone, looked up for the cheapest gas station in this area, and it turned out to be about, 6 miles south of where I'm at, and I had the address, and when I got down there, I wasn't able to get from the street that I was on to turn. When I turned, it was not a street that you could go through to the place I needed to go, and I ended up having to go 2 blocks down, 2 blocks over, make another right and come back. So it was this big circle. But I've had it in my heart that I have really wanted to be outdoors and near water and to be grounded and just, be out in the fresh air and everything. And here it brought me to this little parking space overlooking a creek with this beautiful light yellow-green. The sunlight was shining through these leaves around this little creek that I was at. And so I just pulled over there, and I was just in this wide awake, but continuing on with that kind of a meditative, intensive state that I was in. And after I finished, when I made the last, this was 3 right, to get to this place, and it still wasn't the place I needed to go, but the address that I found for the cheapest gas brought me to that place. And so right before I pulled in there was a car that turned in front of me that said Gerard, Gerard, for the license plate, and I thought, I got to look that up. I got to cipher that. Well, it led me into ciphering several things. The place that I was supposed to go to get this gas was Big Bear Conoco. And when I finally got there, it it wasn't the cheapest gas at all. So I ended up not getting gas there. But this journey that I was on, I ended up ciphering the address for that Conoco station. I ended up ciphering the name of the street. I ended up ciphering the word Girard. I ended up ciphering Big Bear Conoco. And after this was over, what it turned out to be that the address is 1433. One was always a reminder of me to, either 1 or 111 or 11 or 1111. They were always a code to me and my belated husband, that this was a reminder. When we started waking up 1111, he looked it up on the internet, and it said that it was a phenomena that was going on, that was it was a code that had been coded in so that we would begin to remember and start to think about what it was that we were supposed to be remembering when we're waking up. So that was the first thing. And then the 4, yesterday I had 444, and then the time, that was on a license plate, and then the time was at 333. It reminded me of that. Then when I went to the creek, the river, there was all of the yellow-green that I had heard about through Dr. Lynn Horowitz from last night, where he talked about the bright yellow-green of the heart chakra, for the healing and love frequency. So I was getting healed while I was there. And the name of the street, Tejon, it came from a Spanish word, meant badger, as in when you badger someone. And to pester, bother, harass, annoy, persecute persistently. Well, what I had done before I got to that point was, in the spirit, I was harassing the enemy, and our real enemies, this came to me, is thoughts, negative thoughts. So I was harassing those negative thoughts with what I was doing in the intention time right before this happened. So the word Girard, it was of a Germanic element, and the GER stood for spear, which when you stop and think spiritually, what you would use as a spear, as a tool, would be your tongue as a spear or an arrow or a dart to hit the enemy or drive the enemy out. And the hard, Gerhard, or G-E-R-A-R-D, the A-R-D part came from the word hard, which meant brave or hardy. And then the Big Bear Conoco, this was interesting. Of course, we know what big is. The word bear, it said it went to the understanding of to bear, like a bearing a burden, to endure, to carry, to stand, to tolerate, to support. Well, that's what was going on at the beginning of my day as well. And the word Conoco came from a word, it said there's no definition for Conoco, but it had to do with like ConocoPhillips, the oil company type thing. But it said hippo. I thought, well, that's interesting. So what about hippos? So I go to hippo for hippopotamus, and it means river horse. I was at the river. I was taken to the river today. The word horse it's referring to speed and to be quick and energetic, or very quick intuitively. This is my understanding of it. I'm not saying anybody else says it this way, but this is the way it comes across to me. Okay, and the other definition for hippo was broad, wide mouth. And it takes me back to in Scripture when it says, Lord, if I open my mouth, you will fill it. So that's what's happening right now. That's what was happening in my time of prayer today. And right after that, at 2:22 p.m., a license plate for a car in front of me is 777. So just to give you a little, joy from the journey that I had today to, again, confirm you're on the right track. I'm sure many people that are listening to me, just all kinds of things are firing off in their brains right now about, wow, this is so cool. And I just want to tell you, Kate, this is so cool. Thank you for making this forum available, this medium, for being able to share this incredible journey together with you today.
Thanks.
And I do have a favor.
I was trying to unmute. It just wouldn't,
I thought, oh no, I got cut off again. The show ended again, and I didn't get a response.
No. While we're on the air, they can bump us. The show will keep going. It's when we get into the recording, like 2 minutes, we get bumped in the recording, the show goes down. So, okay,
well,
I've had a little bit of fun. I was going to say, let's have a little bit of fun. Let's play Follow Mim's Trail.
Let's do.
Okay, so...
and please play the song at the beginning again. I didn't get to hear it. I just caught the tail end of it when I came on.
Only Hearts, I'll toss that on at some point for sure for you. Okay, so let's look up Conoco, okay? You said it's not in the dictionary, so let's look it up in the magic one. So C-O-N... Oh, let me see. What do we got? Convey, conversion. Conoco. Let me just get. It's C-O-N-O. Yes. Like Conoco. Right. Okay. Just want to make sure I've got it. So he's probably already over it. Let me see. Contract.
Actually, no. My book's out of reach.
I went and grabbed it as soon as Mim started talking about it.
It has something to do with a con right off the bat.
Oh yeah, well it's well there it is. Con with or against, for or against. That's what con means. O-co. So you have the O of creation. See the open aspect, love, note of love. Open creation with creation on the other side. So are you with it or against it? So let's have a look at Conoco. Here, C-O-N.
It's interesting that the word open came up, because that's what I was going to say when you were talking earlier in the call. In looking for these answers, it has to do with being open. In that place of being in the not know, you're being open to all that is or can be known. And you talked about it being like a flash of lightning. And that's it. I mean, those downloads, and it's that intuiting. It's in the moment that my understanding of 3D is that it's the place that we have the opportunity to notice. Again, back to 1 or 11 or 111 or 1111. What are you noticing? And where your focus goes, energy flows.
Yes, exactly.
And it's the law of attraction.
Okay, well, I've got a neat little experiment for you next time you get into prayer, or whatever I call it, meditation, but whatever you're comfortable with, that's all I care about, whatever works for you. Here's something. Instead of saying that you are of the light, because, you see, when people say that, I said, no, for me, no, you are light.
I am the light.
Right. And that's your most beautiful inside that is being utilized. So, for me, I am most certainly not of the light. I am the darkest, deepest void of creation. And in that, I will create. Because only in that will you find the wisdom again, the all-knowing, that will dissolve this illusion around you. And I mean, I have my own ideas of what I may or may not expect with it, but there's no fear going into it. So I'd love to see people, maybe just turn it over and have a look at the fact that, creation comes out of the void, not of the light. The light is an after effect. It's an energy after a thought. Thought is energy. Energy creates light. And we've been poisoned. Our void, our most beautiful void of creation, where we had joy, everything, got blotted with light, someone else's. All right. So the word that I saw here, I'm just looking it up right now. It said connubium was the closest one to it, so I'm just looking for it. It says connubium with 2 N's, and it says C connubium with 1 N. Okay, so you gotta earn this, right? So here we go, and I gotta go way back past the.
Is this on the word con?
Yep.
Okay.
Conoco. So again, I follow it to a T. C-O-U. No. Just bear with me, guys. I'm almost there. L-M. No.
Well, we are from the darkness void, because the light came from the darkness of the void.
Came after.
But it came from the word, the spoken
right.
word.
Well, and actually it says in Scripture, out of the something about the treasures of out of the darkness treasures. Yes.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you. I do agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
It was the spoken word that created the light. So watch the word, because the word is the one that got the light.
Exactly, and the word came after the thought. It's like craziness,
That's
right? So we got to put this in order. So I'm just almost there. Where is it? Now it has convocation, UV. So let me go before that.
So you're going to kind of like the law of first mention again, where you go to the first con. Is that what you're doing?
Well, I'm CONO. So the closest one to it was Canubian, and then it's sending me to look for Canubian. Oh, there's T, so it must be on this page. Let me see, where is it?
If O is a circle of
light, here we go. See if this resonates with you at all, ma'am. Roman law, Canubium. The legal capacity to wed, or the collection of rights that accompany a marriage between persons who have the capacity to marry. Also spelled Canubium, also termed jus connubii. The word Canubium denotes...
Well, I'll tell you what's coming to me.
What's that?
To me, it's exactly what you just said in reminding me when I said I'm of the light, and you said no, actually we're of the dark or the void. And what we're in the process of doing is marrying the truth.
Yes.
Of the two.
If we dare, and look at how hard it is for so many people to take everything that they were ever indoctrinated, taught, like TAUT with, right? And how intensely deep it has been ingrained through the schools, the churches, and the societies, and everything else. And then we turn around and tell them, here, this is one of the challenges I used to give Christians, and it wasn't to be nasty. It was just to try to show a perspective. If I could actually have a conversation with this individual, and how they answered it always determined whether I would or not. And the question was this: you believe in God, yes? And they would say, well, of course I do. I said, okay. What I need you to be able to do, though, in order to have a balanced conversation, can you look at me and actually say that you don't believe in God, that perchance you may be wrong? And it's depending how they answered, depending whether I was moving on or just having a really cool conversation with a very wide awake and wide open being. And I'll tell you, there wasn't too many of those wide awake, wide open beings. All right, I found a couple, so that was beautiful. Yeah, again, and that's what it's all about, following the trail. So let's have a look for Gerard, shall we? Let's just play in the now, because this will make more sense to you on your trail than it will to me. Okay, let's go to G here. And by the way, guys, if you want to jump in here, Carol, if you want to jump in for a sec, I'm not sure if we're going to get, echo thing happening with your... Oh, mouse is acting up again. Of course it does, just during the show. All right, there we go. So I'll open up your mic, and while I'm looking this word up, love to hear from you, hon.
Are you there, sweetheart? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Am I echoing?
No, it's not you that echoes. It's when I have the line open that everyone else does. It sounds good tonight. It sounds good tonight.
Good. Okay, well, hi. Oh, gosh, my mind went blank. I'm sorry. You're
Steve, Zoe.
Zoe, thank you, Zoe. Hi, Zoe. How are you today, honey?
Hey, I'm pretty good. Yourself?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Tired, but good. It's the frequencies are so strong. I think everybody's getting hit with them. And Steve, what a beautiful soul. And Good to hear everybody and your music. Oh my God, that song that you played. Oh, Kate, you are magical, honey.
Oh, stop. It's what I do, Come on, it's like...
I know. That's why I love you so.
I love it.
Oh, well, I'm glad, I am glad that I can share this gift with everybody, and they can take it as the gift that it is. It is. All it is. It's a gift. Unconditional.
Years ago, I was never one for country music because I wasn't raised on it, And then I was introduced to it when I married a second time. That he and his family liked country music, and I loved it because it told a story. Oftentimes other music doesn't actually tell a storyline. It has a lot of beautiful words put together, and it's very romantic and pretty and melodious and all that type of thing. But yours, it doesn't only just tell a story, but it takes you deep. It pulls you down into the depths of love.
Romantic story.
You know? Well, it's beautiful. Oh my God.
Well, these are just downloads. I mean, that's all they are. It's who was I talking to? Oh, actually, Eric came down. I was just noodling around on my guitar a little bit, and he asked me if words come first or if or music comes first. And I said, actually, about 90% of my stuff or more, they came together. It's like the words had a melody when they showed up, and I've had one of the songs, Because Tonight, I wrote the lyrics. It was kind of funny because that was one day I wrote, and don't be impressed, it was just one of those days. I wrote 11 songs, and one of them was a title track for the If Love Could CD that I put out. And if I ever dig that track up, I'll throw it up, let you guys hear it. I only ever played the song live once. That was the purpose, that I would only ever play it live once. So don't ever ask me to play it, because I won't. And Because Tonight, I wrote the lyrics for it. And it was I had the melody in mind because I didn't have my guitar. I was just writing lyrics out, but I had all the melodies going through my head. So when I got back to where my guitar was, I just sat down and played them. And this one, for some reason, it left me, and it was one of the more favorite, poignant things that I'd written that day, along with If Love Could. And lo and behold, a year later, I sat down with my guitar, and it was like this. It was just something like this. Not going to get into it heavily here, but just to let you know, I hope tomorrow finds me safe in the arms of love. Just like that. It just dropped right out of my face. I didn't have to do a thing, and there it was. Again, this is when you open yourself wide and you let these things just go, and that's it. You just got to let go. You just got to let go, and you can't hold on. And that's one of the biggest lessons I had to learn. I knew it in music, but boy, did I not. I just didn't have it with the whole life thing going on, right? I was too busy holding on to things. And, for all what I thought were the right reasons and for all the wrong reasons at the same time, because there is no right or wrong. It's how are you looking at it. But those are the gifts, and the gifts for me, you don't expect them, do you? You shouldn't. That's what a gift is. It's like, oh, you got me something. Isn't that nice? That kind of thing. So take your gifts for it.
Thank you for sharing your beautiful gift, because it lightens my heart and it makes me very happy. And I love you. Thank you.
I love you too, and I'm happy that it does. And I'll get back to doing a whole lot more of it. It was nice getting those other new songs, old friends I hadn't heard for a while, and brought them forth, and it rekindles. It was like the other night playing Rescue. The song ends, the recording didn't, all of it get grabbed. I mean, it's all there. That was actually, I believe from a show. Yeah, that was live on radio. That the version of Rescue you're hearing, and I've got another show that's got, I think, about 8 or 10 songs in it. So I have to splice all the songs out of it. They're all live takes. And I haven't had a chance to listen through it, but I'm sure there's going to be a gem or two in there that I'm going to go, oh, I forgot about that one. And I've forgotten about a lot of songs I've written, and it's really nice. It's like an old friend showing up, going, hey, how's it going? Sit down, have a cup of tea, and we'll talk. We'll converse for a minute. So we kind of went off topic there, but that's okay. It's all good.
I just want to make one other comment. I hear some baby birds in the background. Have you got new babies coming forth?
Oh, there's tons of them here.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
You must have some woods or something around you there. I love the birds.
Actually, no, there's only a couple of trees. There's we got an oak behind. There's a maple over in front, and a handful of others. But most of them, there's a copse of trees that goes down along the fence line, and that's where you're hearing it. And I mean, it's wide open here. I'm hearing birds from all across the neighborhood, so that's what you're hearing.
It's a spirit of love.
Isn't it? Cool.
Yes, they're delightful. Oh, God, I love it. Thank you so much. I'm going to mute out and enjoy you guys. Thanks so much, everybody, for sharing.
All right. No worries.
Thank you all. Nice
love
to
you,
hear
Carol.
Bye-bye.
All right. Now, I was looking up the word Gerard, and of course, German was the only word that where it would sit. It would sit between Georgia Pacific Analysis and German. Yeah, that's where it sits. So if we were to follow it, this one, I'm just going to toss this out, Mem, to see if there's anything that resonates with you. Georgia Pacific Analysis, patent, a 15-factor test for setting a reasonable royalty in infringement suits. Among other factors, the test considers what a prudent licensee would have paid while still being able to earn a profit, and of course, German, having the same parents or grandparents closely related. Did you know that if if you have the same parents or grandparents closely related, you're German? That's a lower G. And isn't it interesting?
What I got out of the first part of that was they were considering the sum value of a human life,
Thank you,
and then it related back to the relation between the families. So it's how they value our birth certificates when they open the trust up.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what I just got out of this lowercase German, and it's from the 14th century. Go figure. I mean, all the royal bloodlines are all Germanic, and that's what they're saying. They're not saying that they're all from Germany. They're saying that they're all German, having the same parents or grandparents closely related. Brother German, see brother. Cousin German, see cousin. So it'll be like kissing cousins, right? Same bloodlines. Sister German, see sister. So, wow, this really, and there's Germain right after.
The germination of man.
Exactly.
That's your bloodline, the germination.
Okay, now we move on to...
And the word germain has to do with what pertains to what is valuable, doesn't it?
Well, yes, but let now see what resonated with me was something like the Germain Trust. Now, pay attention. Let's go to the other.
Thank you. That was great. I was thinking that.
Let's go to the other side of the coin, though. I don't want people stuck on this. I want to show them the other side. Here's what Germain is in the dictionary. 14th century adjective: relevant, pertinent. The case law cited in the brief was not germane to the legal issue pending before the court. I'm going to get Zoe to jump on this. I can feel her already. Under parliamentary law, there's that parliamentary, Zoe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Under parliamentary law, debate and amendments are in order only if they are germane to the motion under consideration.
Mm-hmm.
Only if they're relevant, only if they're pertinent.
Only if they're related.
So is the Germain Trust, is it a pertinent trust or relevance? Mirror, mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that interesting?
Or is it related to humanity?
Oh, what comes to me is that their system is not germane to what we're doing here. It does not pertain, and this supersedes that their processes of however they determine what is of pertaining to value.
Okay. Well,
I think you nailed it right on the head. It's saying basically whatever they decide. So it's not necessarily pertinent to us.
Okay,
right.
I want to throw something in here real quick.
I got one. Okay,
go ahead.
Okay, hold your thought because I'm going to go to Germanus here. Okay? Germanus, which is Roman law. Adjective: having the same father and mother. See Frater Germanus under frater, a whole brother, a child of both of one's own parents.
Is that where the fraud comes from?
Frater? You're frater. Now you're. Look at you at show and tell, Stephen. You can bring your toys anytime you want.
Oh, well, thank you, my dear. Here's my little 2 cents, and then I'll kind of back out, because I don't want to get too far into this, just because I have my own beliefs on things from my research. There's a lot of talk about bloodlines, and that's what we're talking about right now. It's relative and relation and germane. And there are more than one species of humans on this planet. And the ones of us that are of a certain species are totally different than the others. And that's where all this legalese started into many, many centuries ago, to try to bring dominance over our species of human bloodline that we have.
Yeah.
And that's why I say that our when it comes to the sun changes, and Fukushima and all the different gamma ray and UV ray changes, I'm not concerned about it because my blood, my germane, can handle it.
There you go. So I'm really curious about this word frauder, F-A-R, F-R-A-T-E-R. Follow the trail. Follow. Where are we? E-F-G, so. See what I mean, though? Yeah, it's just coincidence.
This is what would happen to me when I would do those word studies back in 2000. I did it for a number of years. But it just takes you on all these different rabbit holes that are just, I'd end up being there several hours a day, and it was like no time at all had gone by.
Okay, frauder or freighter is what they're saying. Look at the freighters, right? Of course, in Admiralty, the ships have to be called freighters, which is Latin Roman law, means a brother. And there's a whole series of words. So it's freighter, not frauder. But that's kind of neat how I said incorrectly, but I kind of open up another. See what I mean? Every letter.
So it goes to that Admiralty law, the freighters on the sea, and the brotherhood of the secret societies. I mean, you could see how it could lead into that potentially. And
you said it right the first time when you said she, the freighter on the she, because it's all about sailing our void of feminine divine void that has been taken over, right?
Well, so back to that word connubian, the Roman law to wed and marry, and what came to me from that was to make sense of. And, when we have, like Steve was talking about, he's got the sound going in the left and a different sound going in the right, but in the marrying of them, I don't know, it brings us back to that place in the middle, that balance.
Yeah. Here's a question.
And to make sense of.
What was the name of the spacecraft that they were flying, looking for parts for when they landed on Tatooine with the princess? Do you remember the make of it? Wait do you hear this? Because that's why. Oh my goodness! They were looking for, I guess, hyperdrive parts for the Nubian freighter.
Was this from Star Trek?
Star Wars. Star Wars.
Star Wars. Okay.
Yeah, it was that beautiful, sleek-looking silver ship that they were flying around in, Nubian freighter, which I thought was kind of neat. We just talked about Canubian freighter. Oh, just coincidence. Anyway, just how the little mind works. I just wait for it to resonate something, and then I go with it. And that's exactly how I follow trails. I follow them in the now. I don't think about them. I just go, okay, well, that word leads to that. Well, I have to go here. Same thing when I was doing any etymological research I was doing. As soon as something on the page resonated, I would just keep going and keep following the words until I would uncover some amazing depths of what one word meant by following the trail of everything that was connected to it. And that's really what we have to do. We have to just connect the dots. So what we're trying to do right now, instead of saying, hey, everybody, here's a fish, and, I'll see you tomorrow for another one, here's a fishing rod. Why don't you go out and catch some fish? Mim did. Stephen did.
Hey, you want a little humor in on this?
Oh, I hate humor. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, while we're still on the frauder thing, and how we know how music and past music has tried to tell us stories in different ways, and how the bloodlines of the Illuminati have usurped our planet, right? And they're trying to put us all in a concentration camp and FEMA camps, right? So it reminded me just of an old song, and because of the word frauder, it came to mind. And the song was, hello, fodder, hello, mutter, here I am in Camp Granada.
Yeah, I remember that one, too.
Yeah, I like that.
That's good. Yeah, just choking on tea here, thanks.
No problem.
Oh, right on. Oh, I was going to say, anybody else wants to jump in, guys, just hit 1 on your keypad if you're already called in. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're on Skype, all you have to do is open up your keypad and hit the plus sign. It will open up the dial pad, or the option to open it, and just hit 1 there, and it will put a little question mark beside your number, so I know that you want to get into the call. Mim has it down cold.
Hey, Kate, when I looked at that word conico, there was it said hippo, but it had another word which sounded like something that I've heard you talk about. It was R-E. It was a capital R-E-J-U-I-S. I wondered if you could do a little word search and kind of tell us if that rings a bell with you. Because again, this is the Dark Cabal ConocoPhillips.
Yes, well, they're all any of the oil companies you're dealing with that entity because they know that we don't need to use oil. They just prefer us killing ourselves with it.
Right.
Rejuis or Rejuis?
Yeah.
Okay.
R-E-G-U-I-S.
That just looks like a really cool way of saying Regis.
I think it has something to do with regent, royalty.
Well, yeah, Regis. R-E-G-I-S, which is to rule. And then you've got the J, which has the same just sound, so Rejuis. To me, that it resonates the same sort of frequency. And, of course, when I see J-U-I-S, my first instinct was to go to... Well,
or do again.
The light, the light of God, Re, or as they like to worship, Ra. That's what the ancient spelling of Ra was, Re. And then when I see J-U-I-S, you can go with the sound of Jewis or Jui, but I also instantly went to Je suis.
Jesuit.
Or Je suis, which again, like Jesuit, I am. And you can take Jesuit and look at it, I am with T at the end of it, love, right? So this is why we have to stop looking at things from a good and evil. If you do, you will be stuck in this duality. You will never find yourself because you'll be looking at one side or the other. You'll never find the center point. I promise you.
You want my take on what I got out of Conico?
Yeah, sure.
And I am not an etymologist, so my
don't need to be.
Okay.
You don't.
We got con, and that is basically are you in or are you out, right?
Yes.
Isn't that what con basically means?
For or against, yeah, it means both with or against.
Right.
Yeah.
With or without, yeah, up or against. Then you have the O, which is life, right? Circle of life. Mm-hmm. So are you in? Are you out? Are you in? Are you out of the circle of life? CO, which is company.
Yep.
It's
there
the company they created
to
keep you jumping back and forth.
Yeah, and also what I found is if you go from the end back to the beginning, like the company, O of life, con, in or out.
Exactly. Where are you going to go?
Now I looked up hippo, which where it falls is hypotheca, or hypotheca, which is Spanish law, which is a mortgage of real property. Oh, look, see hypothecation. So let's go look at hypothecation.
You have hypothecary.
Yeah, well, hypothecation is the use of the signature to create money, right? So.
Yeah.
Hypothecary is the use of herbs to heal.
Exactly. So let me see. Hypothecation, 17th century, noun. The pledging of something as security without delivery of title or possession. Here, sign
and
here.
That's what they've done with us with their birth certificates. They don't have the authority to do the pledging of our something, which is our soul, our beingness, our sentience.
Which is why, and this is where I ended up finally, which is why they had to get Mom and Dad to aid and abet us in our own fraud to hypothecate for them. That renders them honorable. Sorry, we turned that table over now. Who shall not be named.
Yes.
I have a question you probably know. Hippo in the Greek, doesn't that mean water?
Actually, hippo is horse.
Okay.
Right?
So how does that fit in with the Hippocratic Oath?
Isn't that interesting? Let's look up Hippocratic. I don't know if we can or not.
Oh, Ninja Bam just corrected me. I meant apothecary. Yeah, she's right. I said, yeah, hypothecary, it being the herbal medicine, and it's apothecary. So I'm wrong.
Okay.
Thank you, Ninja.
Yeah, hypothecary is relating to or involving I hate that letter. It's hypothic or hypothecation. So someone who actually, someone that works at the registry office.
We're looking at Hippocratic oath, like the doctors take a
Yep. I just wanted, while we were on that page, I thought I might as well just put that one out there. But so someone who registers names as a apothecary. Isn't that interesting?
That's interesting.
All it's doing is creating more ammo for this little note that I'm working on.
So that means if they're doing that, they're a hippo, which means that the horse's ass, right?
Well, Craddock. I have to look up Craddock, but let me see. How would they spell that? Is it with an I or a Y?
I think it's H-I.
If it was Greek, it would be a Y. If it was an I, it'd probably be German.
Okay.
I'm not sure. Steve, the name is Mem, M-E-M, Mem, as in the Hebrew letter Mem for flow.
Yeah, water girl.
Cool.
I don't see it with. Nope, I don't see Hippocratic.
So it's
with
not like hippopotamus.
No, it's actually not in here. It would go right back to Hippotica, which is hypothecation, so it's got to be related. And of course, we know that most doctors don't even realize that they're working for Big Pharma. They've just been bought and paid for and programmed into punching pills into people in crazy amounts. Well,
yes, I agree.
Well, I mean, hey, listen, they're aiding and abetting in murder, and they need to know that. The first pill that a doctor subscribes effectively...
I got to get out a second, guys.
Okay. Yeah, my feeling is that the first vaccine or pill that a doctor prescribes for someone, they in fact committed attempted murder. I wonder how they...
Scribes as in the biblical term, scribes?
Yeah. Well, that's why they... pre, as in before, or for, right? I just saw something really interesting here. It jumped out at me. Remember we were talking about hue and cry the other night, Zoe?
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's another hue and cry, law Latin, hutesium et clamor, right? So that's your hue and cry. It's on the same page here. I was just kind of, wow, that's neat. Seems to be that we're onto something here, and that's exactly why it's important to trust your feelings. Just go with the flow. Follow the yellow brick road. Don't hesitate. Just follow it. Did Dorothy know where the hell she was going? No. She started off in this little spiral in Munchkin Land. Most people are still stuck there. And she walked in a circle on her way out. And I'll tell you, she even got to the Scarecrow. And if you remember, excuse me, there was a debate of which road they should take. There was three.
No, she didn't walk out in a circle. She walked out in a spiral.
Oh, the spiral, yeah. She came out spiraling out, yes. And when she met up with the Scarecrow, do you remember the conversation she had? Which way do we go? And the Scarecrow, arms crossed. So here's the thing. The lesson there is very simply this. It doesn't matter what road you take. You're going to get to the Emerald City. It's still the yellow brick road. It doesn't matter which direction it goes off in. It's like I said the other day about, I'm on my yellow brick road musically, and then I had to take a slight detour. If I hadn't I would never have met you. You see what I mean?
It's a long and winding road.
Yes, exactly. So all things for a reason, and I take that in its most allegorical, literal self. Okay? I really do. All things for a reason. It's up to me to find what and why. Nothing else. I don't question... I don't question the what happened. I question the why did I need that to happen to show me the way forward.
Yeah.
These are not obstacles.
Well, it's as the old saying goes, I am not here to question why, I'm here to do or die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, this is Tim. I've got to drive, so I'll be here, but I got to mute out.
Okay, hon, no worries. Always here, so great to have you, as always.
Because if you're not willing to do, you will die, and if you don't die, you will do.
And it's interesting to note that the word "die" in Latin means day, so you got to find your own light, right? Right. It is a good day to die. Okay.
You betcha, all the time.
All the time. So, again, what do we got here? We got about 6 minutes, so I better get, for me, the most important word out. Thanks to everyone at criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul, Lee, the crew, all the hosts, everybody, all the listeners there today. You guys are awesome. Everyone's awesome. I got the best family in the world. I'm talking to you right now. I can't be more grateful for this, because this gives me my opportunity to share. And Paul is such a benevolent site owner, whatever. Critical Mass Radio is his baby, So, and he is so benevolent and so wonderfully humble. He likes to come on after I'm done. Oh, thanks, great show, and all I can do is mirror that and say, no, thank you. We do this together. Isn't it kind of neat how that works? So, but I can't be more grateful, and I will make sure everyone knows that every single night. And we're going to roll into the after, obviously. We always do. It depends on how close to the truth we get. So Zoe.
Yeah.
Allegories. Where do you want to go?
Oh, well, actually, why don't we go with the Wizard of Oz? Because when you mentioned the Wizard of Oz just now, so many things popped in my head. Like going from the black and white into the color is like going from law into color of law.
Yeah.
Which really did us in.
Yeah, we got real distracted real good, didn't we?
Yeah. Color of law is everything from don't plant this and all this crap. And but a great movie. And again, there you are. You got your evil queen.
Yep.
Yeah, we're getting rich.
Yeah, for me, one of the most poignant scenes in the movie was right before Witchy Poo got the water tossed all over, and she said a very, very important line. It was a major trigger for me in really deciphering the road that I'm on. And she turned to Dorothy, and because, of course, they were surrounded in the tower, they'd cornered in one tower, and the witch turned to Dorothy and the crew and said, "The last to go will see the first three go before."
Yeah.
And that means you have to get rid of the whole straw man fiction mind, right? You got to lose your mind, right? Let's put it in the mirror. You don't have to gain a mind, you have to lose it. Right? Go to the Tin Man. Let's mirror this one again. You had to find your heart, and at the same time, you have to lose it to get neutral. You got to lose the emotion.
Yeah. See, I see it also like heart, mind, and body.
Mm-hmm.
Because each of the three represented, one was had a body, the other needed, the heart and the mind. So it was, it has, the more you look at it, you see more and more things. But I mean, if that isn't a representation of Her Majesty, I don't know what is. With their little flying monkeys.
And what was the only thing that could destroy the witch? The etheric symbolic of truth being water.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wash away all of the pain.
Yeah, I'm melting. Yes, you are. And that's, for me, that's for this whole game, that's the allegory that we need to get back to. And we have to, again, this is about finding ourselves within. And I mentioned this the other day, like the sky pilot that was, a skyrider that was doing the Last Chance.
They're so funny.
Yeah, and of course, I can't remember. I believe it was Last Chance Dorothy that the Wicked Witch wrote.
Yeah.
Yeah, so here's a...
Well, here's something else that's funny is a lot of us that have, the birth certificates of a certain age, Dorothy is the name on their birth certificate. And my partner ordered one, and the new name that's now on it is Lion. Here's another thing that's funny is, the I was saying about the Lost Colony of Virginia. It was brought in by ships. One of them was called the Dorothy.
Yep.
The Red Lion and Her Majesty. HMS.
HMS.
So yeah. There's certainly a fun game going on.
Was that the colony at Roanoke you were talking about?
Yeah,
yeah.
The missing colony at Roanoke.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, when you start correlating things and seeing the coincidences, and they abound, they most assuredly abound.
The original corporate entity that was established on this country was the Virginia colony, or the Virginia Corporation.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and that's the one that if you go back to the Treaty of Versailles in 1789, when Benjamin Franklin, who spent most of the Revolutionary War in France as an agent of France.
Oh, you're talking about the Treaty of Paris.
No, that was 1812. There is a
Treaty
of Versailles is 1789.
Yeah, there is one.
Go back and look up the Treaty of Versailles. What happened was, at the end of the Revolutionary War, Benjamin Franklin, and I can't remember, he had two men with him, were in France, and they were leaving France to go to Britain, which he was also an agent of the Crown, to sign the peace treaty, or to make a peace treaty with Britain. They were held at gunpoint at France and forced to sign the Treaty of Versailles, which the Treaty of Versailles said that the colonies would not be free and would still keep their allegiance with the British Crown, and would pay I believe it was a 5% token tax to the Crown from that point forward through the Virginia Corporation. And that is where the IRS comes in, which is based out of Puerto Rico. They were kicked out of the United States, I believe, by the Supreme Court in 1938 for being a foreign agency in this country, and they're based out under the Treasury of Puerto Rico, and the taxes they collect go to the IMF, which goes to the British Crown, which in turn goes to the Vatican.
Yeah, that sounds actually
pretty close.
Good.
Pretty close.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to stuff that.
Well, and then when they came back, when Franklin came back, and of course we ratified the Constitution supposedly in this country, which we did, but there were two factions involved in that constituted government. One faction was the independent government of the United States of America, the people, and the other one was the faction still loyal under the Treaty of Versailles to the Crown. Now, just a little quick history on that. I don't know if everybody knows, you're not American, so you probably don't, but a lot of Americans don't know it either. But the factions that were loyal to the Crown by 1801 had gained enough power in the Congress of the United States that they passed a law allowing the incorporation of the United States Incorporated in 1801.
The organic law? Is that the organic law?
No, it was two separate governments that were allowed to form at one time.
Oh.
And if you look at the writings of John Adams at that time in 1801, John Adams said this was basically a disgrace, and that the American people would have to be forever vigilant over the allowance of this separate entity. At the time that it was formed, it was only had jurisdiction on the 10 square mile radius of the District of Columbia and territories, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And he said because if the people are not vigilant, the corporation, the entity, will forego its boundaries and will take over the entire country, which of course we know it did.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was going to say that
anyway,
the confusion I had with the Treaty of Versailles was in reference to the end of World War One.
Right.
That's why I was. Wait a minute.
So this goes clear back. This fight we have been at war in this country since we have went to war in 1776.
Yes, my feeling is that we are prisoners of war. That's why we.
Well, and the thing is that the country of the Americas, the United States of America, the organic American nationals have to prevail under common law in this country, or this whole world is screwed. Because you've got the Vatican, and Santos will tell you all this, You got the Vatican is one faction. They are the hierarchy of the religious arm. You have the City of England, or City of London, excuse me, that is the financial arm of this corporation. And you have the entity of the District of Columbia in the United States. And look up who Columbia is. She's a Babylonian goddess. That is the military arm of this corporation. And the people of the United States have got to break the military arm of this corporation and take the rest of the corporate structure down, period.
And that's happening little by little right now.
Oh, it's happening in big time right now.
Well, I was going to say big time, but I'm just trying to be polite.
No, you're doing very well, because there are so many things. We have a total media blackout in this country at this point. And there are so many things that are happening between the organic United States of America and the militarized United States Corporation of America. There is a total all-out war going on right now that has a total media blackout.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whereabouts? Like, you don't have to tell me the town, but in which state are you calling from?
I'm in Niangua, Missouri.
Ah, okay.
65713, house address 1801, Highway M. I do not fear these fuckers.
Me either.
And,
that's why I see.
Yeah, I have no problem with it. You know, I just, matter of fact, I got my return certified mail receipts from the county clerk, from the Attorney General of the State of Missouri Incorporated, and from the United States Incorporated Eric Holder today, telling them, screw you, I am no longer a citizen of the United States Incorporated. I am an American national, so fuck off.
Excellent. I like it.
Talk about throwing a rock with a note on it over the wall, huh?
Well, you know, I hate to be so. I'm sorry for the French.
Oh,
you know,
please.
But,
oh my.
Yeah. Oh yes. No, trust me. We've been fucked over.
Yeah. See, it's a wide open station. That's why I have a disclaimer. You can say whatever you want on my show. Don't matter.
Besides, I think it's done, right? We're
recording. It's going to go into the archives, but that's it's irrelevant.
For anybody, just to put out a little note there for any American citizens that are listening to the show, because there's a lot of people out there in America that are trying to change the platform, and they ain't got a chance, because unless you terminate your voter registration, which makes you a citizen of the United States Incorporated and fall under their Constitution, which is different than the organic Constitution of the United States of America. Unless you terminate, you are under their control, period. So you have to do that, and then you become an American national, and you can be a part of the jury pool of the common law courts of the Americas.
And the Americas do have a common law court. Like the, yes. We do not have it here in Canada. But yes, it is there. Because, well, when I say Canada, it's a fucking factory. So I'm
well,
sorry.
We're the same here.
And it's all under District of Columbia jurisdiction anyway. So.
Well, we're the military arm of the faction.
Yeah.
Or the fiction, however you want to put it.
Yeah, Rome religion, London money, DC military. It's
exactly.
There's your triple crown right there, But
that's your trinity.
Yeah, that's again the triple crown. Look at the Pope's crown. There's 3 layers to it. So again, this has been a drip by drip and dupe by dupe, and we're awakening to it. And we're not anymore.
We have a convention on the 31st and the 1st of June. The 31st of May, 1st of June, here in Missouri, matter of fact, in St. Charles County, of a convention of constitutional sheriffs. And it's about 150 miles away from me. I'm going to try to make it there. And we are going to discuss this with the county sheriffs, because what happened is the county sheriffs are the enforcement level of the People's Common Law Court. And they've been hijacked, mostly unbeknownst to them, by corporate America and brought into the corporate box, and are working as enforcement officers for the statutes and codes of the corporation. And we are in the process of breaking that out and bringing them back into the people's common law area. And when we get that accomplished, which we will shortly, we will break the back of the corporate structure in America. And then everything else will fall.
Hey,
Yep.
Steve, is that Sheriff Mack's operation?
Sheriff Mack, Richard Mack, is the one who instigated it and brought the convention together. There's some 450 constitutional sheriffs at this point in time, but
oh, hallelujah, that's wonderful.
yes, but there's one thing that we have to get across to the so-called constitutional sheriffs, that the Constitution that they took an oath to protect and defend, and the citizenry of the county they took an oath to, is not the one that they are working for. They do not realize that they are working for the corporatized, militarized government of the United States, not for the American nationals and the people of this country.
Right,
so we
and
have
you know,
to bring them back on board.
Yeah, it's taken Mack a long time and a lot of hard work to start pulling enough sheriffs in to make a difference. Congratulations
well, I have to say
on
one
all the work.
thing. Well, that's true, but I have to say one thing, and if anybody has any connection with Richard Mack, is that we have been told by him that he is not willing to bring this situation forward at this convention, that as far as the difference between the corporate structure and the organic structure, he's weaseling out a little bit on us.
You gotta be kidding.
No, I am not.
That was
That
was my first instinct with Mac. Anyway, I sent him an email about a year or so ago, outlining a lot of the stuff about the Constitution and, of course, about the name and what have you, and never heard back.
He's done some great work, and I've tried to get in touch with him too. And I've been, I've just been led down this path recently that's given me some contacts, and now I can put some of my abilities to work on that end. And we're going to pull this off. We only need one county sheriff. What we need is a county sheriff in this country that will say that he sees the court as a legitimate court, the people's common law court. Then we need that sheriff there to instruct the county clerk to file the motion, and we can convene the grand jury. So that's what we're doing. All we need is one.
Steve, does the name Daryl Freck mean anything to you?
No, that one hasn't come up yet.
Oh, okay. Well, he was with my call back in 2010. We had him on for 12 weeks. And his calls are archived for us out of Germany. If you're interested, if it's okay with you, Kate, I'd like to give the archived internet site for people to look this up. It's a lot of hours of listening, because when he'd come on after 2 hours of our call, sometimes he would go 4 hours long. And this fellow that's an American living in Germany, hoping to get home after all the things happen here, was kind enough. He came out of the woodwork and just archived all these fabulous calls. And I had many 2 and 3 hour off conference call conversations with Daryl, and he made my eyeballs swim. I'd have to tell him, hey, I can't take any more. The guy is a genius, and he went to prison for 8 years, and his wife Sally went to prison for 5 years, and the Dark Agenda knew how dangerous they were to their cause. And I think if you have time to listen to any of his work, you'll understand a lot more about the changes that are coming and what has to be done. But if you go to Tiny, that's T as in Tom, I-N-Y, like a small tiny little thing, tiny.cc as in Charlie Charlie, /74743. And there's 12 weeks of calls there. And anybody interested in the coming changes that are coming down in America, you might want to go there. He was very active in the farm claims and getting NESARA, and he wrote a case that went to the Supreme Court. While he was in prison, he had to study both corporate law and common law, and he wrote this case to go to the Supreme Court, which freed up NESARA to be announced, I think, in Oklahoma. And I think one reason that Oklahoma has just been terrorized is because of a lot of white knights that are around that area. But you talk an awful lot like Daryl, and I really would like you to know about him. And if you're interested, after you listen to him, I can get you in touch with him.
That would be great. I have to leave for just a minute. I'll be back.
No worries, no worries. And I got to say it, and I'm going to be gentle about it. Masara, all of it, courts, everything, as far as it was set up, is a load of bullshit. It's all illusion. That's exactly what I'm trying to get people steered away from. So, there, it's said, done. Look at Nasara the same way I look at Op, the same way I look at all these illusional traps that people get caught in, because they're all ego traps and I don't want to call them the dark agenda anymore. I want to call them exactly what they are, the Luciferian false light agenda. The light that's outside of you is not the light that's inside of you, and if you're looking at it, you're worshiping another master. And this is why I want people to get busy and get in. And like I said, a lot of things I say probably don't sit well with a lot of people, but I'm not out to be popular. I'm out to be truthful. And what resonates with me and what I've discovered, the pitfalls and the traps that I see people falling into on a daily basis, are exactly the pitfalls and traps I want to help people stay away from. Because the more you're looking outside of yourself for answers, the less you're ever going to find. That's why I'm bringing into the magical mystery tour land, because it's one that, how many of you actually ever thought of looking at? And this is exactly the realm I've lived in my whole life. I see a lot of people awakening to it, and now that I see people awakening and seeing this wondrous place for what it is, you are gods. This is magical. This is not a physical realm at all, and we've all been duped into it. So I don't really like dealing in the physical realms, because we're still dealing in someone else's concepts, someone else's thoughts, someone else's light. And that, for me, is the absolute deception of all. And yes, the 3D has to unfold the way it's unfolding. But I'm going to do my part in making sure that I keep it as ethereal as possible, so that people, beings, you, the most glorious entities in this universe, can find your way home. That's all I'm trying to do. And I know that this place is not home.
Yeah. Kate, I'm going to get going. I'm going to have that supper that I started a while back.
Okay, hon.
And I love you, and I say goodbye to everybody.
Well, thanks, Zoe. Much appreciated, love. And I'll catch up with you tomorrow at some point. We'll have a chit-chat. Okay, babe?
Alrighty.
All right, love you. Say hi to Gare. Take care.
Yep.
All right, good night, you. Okay, so sorry for being a stick in the mud, everybody, but that's kind of my job, isn't it? Got to keep things surreal, as I like to put it. Let me get back to the board here. So my apologies if anything I say offends anyone. I love you, so I don't really care. It's that simple. I'm not here to win any votes. I'm not here to win any popularity contests. I'm just here for truth, and I'm not buying into any more illusions. And by all means, for the information that's there, that's great. If it's going to help people awaken to who and what they are, but if it's going to lead people down another rabbit hole of illusion, I'm going to put my proverbial foot down on that one. And just so you know, I think that's about as nasty as I can be on it, and about as gentle at the same time. I'm trying to find that beautiful, happy road. And it's not saying I'm right. And it's not saying I'm wrong. All I'm going to do is share a perspective. And I know I've looked at it, and no, not at all. It's just another illusion. It's like the dinar, it's like everything else. It's looking outside of yourself into someone else's construct called money or false illusion of security. And there is none, guys. There's no security. You're infinite. What do you need security for? At what point does a God, you, at what point do you, the ultimate creator in the universe, need security? All we need to do is find out who we are. Not what we've been made into or made to believe we are. And I'm most certainly not going to fall for anything anymore. You know, yeah, I'm sure I'm going to get tripped up here and there, and have still got some trials and tribulations ahead. But I'll tell you, I'm very wary, and if it doesn't feel right, I immediately look at it, don't react to it. I will share about it. I will observe it. And that's the thing, too, that I really want to drive this point home. This is about becoming the neutral observer and not looking at things from this is what I see is going to work. Everything works. Everything that everyone does works. Everything is perfect. It's a matter of, can you look at it neutrally and not be emotionally or psychologically attached to it. And by that, I mean, ego is a very simple thing to spot in this regard. And I brought this up regarding opt with someone, I think it was last week. I might have been on one of these shows, I don't know. I talk so much, so many people, I never forget what I've said, or never remember what I've said when and where, but I just know I've said it. And here's the thing. The reason why COINTELPRO operations work so effectively is because they've got the brightest and the best and the most powerful individuals in a very desperate position, in a very undermined, what would seem to be perceived as a weaker, desperate position, in as much as that's exactly the way, you know, the system had to come at me to remove all structural support from under me, marginalize me, effectively banish me into what they were hoping would be oblivion, but quite the opposite. But people in the situation that I went through may not handle it the same way I did. Some have handled it far worse, and some have handled it far better. That would be my assumption. I'm always looking for the neutral. But I'll tell you, it's very easy to get lured into security. Yeah, there's nothing I'd love more than to, you know, be sitting back in my home, sleeping in my own bed. Nothing I'd love more than to be tucking my girls in and sitting down and sharing a glass of wine with Sue, hanging out with my puppies and the kitties. You know, nothing I'd love more than that. And it'd be very easy to wave a carrot in front of me, so they think, to say, well, if you do this, 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 and this, you can have this back. And I said, no. No, no, no. You see, because this price is paid for a very specific reason. If you think I'm going to sell out now, think again. I've never sold out in this lifetime, and I never will. My game's simple. It's to the death. The universe has this. I trust in me. In God we trust? No, in I trust. And I get into my center points, I get into my 0 points, and I download. I sit down, I shut up, I turn off all manner of opinion, and I simply wait, quietly. And it doesn't happen every time. Wish it would. But it happens. And the information gets downloaded. And in that information, in that wisdom, which is applied knowledge, there is so much solace and so much peace that you don't need to be searching outside of yourself. Yes, things have been very precarious for me for the last year and a half. But I've still managed to, you know, be on the air at least once or twice a week. And now I'm on the air 7 nights a week, twice today, and I'll be on 3 times next Tuesday. I'm going to be doing a show with Mel V on her station. So, you know, I'm just going to keep doing what I do, because I think, well, I feel in my heart that I'm manifesting the kind of world that I'm wishing for, and it's one of peace, and it's one of re-empowering you into what you are, what you've always been, and what you've been taken away from by a thought, a deception. So let's call them what they are. These are the Luciferian false light worshippers. We are the dark agenda. We are the void of creation, the absolute jet black void, where all is known, where everything is known. We're going home. And you're thinking, but Kate, that's going to be so boring. Do you forget? You didn't forget that much, did you? You see, when we get into that beautiful space, the void, in meditation, I forget who, I was reading a post. Somebody said they were. I remember who it was. I'm not going to mention that. It doesn't matter. It was the point that was being made that kind of got me. Someone had posted a Bill Donahue video, and this individual had never seen Bill. And one of the points came up about meditation, and this individual says, well, I don't meditate. And my first reaction was, well, you don't know shit, because you're still stuck in the illusion. You're still flailing, right? But you look really smart. You've got that ego just working beautifully, and that intellectual thing is going off, and it's going to keep you spinning, chittering and chattering, infinitely babbling, until you wake up to the fact that you don't even know who you are, because you don't know where you are. You don't know why you are. This is about getting home. I mean, Glenda said it the best at the end of Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy was standing there and the balloon was gone and the wizard was gone with it, and she was all stressed because she had no way to get back to Kansas, and Glenda just looked at her. You've had the way to get home all along. You just didn't know. And she clicked her heels 3 times together. I wish I was home. I wish I was home. I wish I was home. And she made it, because she finally found herself. She found the door of God. She found Dorotheos. And that's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for my Dorothy in my toto genre, my total character, my himself, herself, itself. And to the last breath that this physical body has and beyond, that's my goal. That's what I'm reaching for. And I'm not letting anything get in my way anymore. I'm not letting any sort of drama, any sort of nonsense. I will look at the intent of what is happening around me. And for me, the only roads that lead to Rome or back to love, amor, are the roads of intent. What is the intent of your actions? And you can paint it any way you want of, I will, want to help this, that, and the other, and do this, that, and the other, and all the rest of it. But what are you using to do it? Is it you, or is it another veiled crutch? I can get into things like, why would I need a teleportation device when I am a Stargate? And I would rather just learn how to be that again, instead of crutching it where I might get distracted even further, where I become a Psi-Borg or a Cygnus Borg, right? There's your divine feminine, Cygnus, Psi, spirit, Psi, PSI, Borg, machine. They call them cyborgs for a reason, guys. The spirit in the machine, the ghost in the machine. Do you really want to be that, or are you willing to ante up a little bit more to say, let's go for the real prize here. Let's go for home. I'm swinging for the bleachers every swing. There's no point in bunting. When I do a home run, it's going to be a home run. I'm not going to waste my time walking base to base. Yeah, I might. You want another analogy? Babe Ruth. He was the home run champion for many, many years, and people ask him, Babe, how did you do it? He says, well, I struck out more than everyone, because he always swung for the bleachers. And when he connected, goodbye, Mr. Spaulding, over the big green giant, no problems. So that's kind of an ideal I want to live up to. So, mini download, mini rant over. I just wanted to share that, just to get my heart out there and let you know where I'm at. Again, it's not a make right or a make wrong. This is just an observation. Follow your heart. Anybody? I know we lost Zoe. I know Mim, I've got her line open. I've got yours open, Carol. I know I've got Izzy in the call here. I should probably check to see if anybody else tagged me to get into this. Nope, I just got the big thumbs up from Zoe. Oh, hey, Ninja, how are ya?
I just unmuted myself. I was being radical.
I know. I told you that. You can unmute yourself, or I'm not going to bother, because you have the power.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say, thanks for all your rants and downloads and mini rants and heart sharing, and all that stuff that you do day in, day out, night in, night out, and we love it. We love the music. We just enjoy being in the family with all of it, with each other, and
the zone, baby.
Mm.
And that's it. It's a beautiful table that we all sit around, and I can't get enough people to this table, as far as I can tell. But they are showing up in droves right now. I think over the last 3-4 days, at least 70 or more Facebook contacts. So word's getting out. People are awakening.
Well, we know some carpenters and builders. They can keep extending that table as big as it needs to get. So it's all good.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. That's my background, master carpenter.
Yeah, I know, and there's a few others I know as well. So
Tony, another carpenter, and of course Sherry's husband, carpenter. So some guy in the Bible, carpenter.
Yeah, funny that, isn't
it? And a great duo in the 70s, the Carpenters.
Oh yes. Yeah,
what a voice on that
beautiful
girl.
Music, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay, no, I just wanted to say, my little piece. Thank you very much.
Oh hey, and thank you again. Let everybody know. See, I'm terrible about self-promotion. You know that. Ninja put together the cadeofgaia.wordpress.com page, which is going to be very simple for people to access everything relevant in the now. So that's http://. You can just put in cadeofgaia.wordpress.com. Easy to find. And all the stuff's already there. Boy, you've been busy. Well, look at you go.
Oh, no, it didn't take long.
Well, I know, but that's one of the things I wrestle with all day, with keeping up with people and trying to, write and do this and book shows and, try to figure out what the hell it is I'm going to talk about that night. And, it's just been, it's been fun. But I did have to...
Yeah, but you do your thing and the rest of us do our thing and it all comes together, right? So...
Yeah, well, that's that table, and apparently someone's already put an extension on it, so it's pretty cool. But, no, I can't be more grateful, kiddo, and I know what time it is where you are, so you're really, you're grinding it, girl, and that's more appreciated than you realize.
I was always a night owl anyway.
Yeah, me too. It's kind of... Actually, I love mornings and I love late nights.
Yeah, in the afternoons it's not such a good time for me, but mornings and, yeah.
Yeah, between 2 and 4 for me, I just kind of have this why bother sort of thing going on, right?
It's neither the witching hour nor the morning. It's just, yeah.
That sort of nether time, but...
Oh, don't mention that word. Never.
I know.
Come along now.
I know. Inside joke. It's all good. Well, hey, you're the one that lives in the nether regions, called Netherlands.
I know. Don't remind me. Thank you very much.
I know. But look at you holding the light, making all sorts of stuff happen. It's a beautiful thing. I'm just wondering if we... Oh, it is. I'm just wondering if we have Steve back. Obviously not. Izzy, it's okay. You can talk.
He's wondering if he can get a word in edgeways with me on. I'm going to mute out anyway.
All right, kiddo. You know where the button is. You help yourself.
Hey.
How are you doing, Izzy?
Oh, very well. Enjoying this call so much.
Yeah, we definitely go into a different realm with these shows, eh?
Yeah, I'm new to all this, so I don't know how the progression has gone, so...
Well, you made it here. You're doing okay, my friend. It's like this. You made it this far, so
yeah.
You're doing fine. And we all are. That's the thing, is we got to stop taking ourselves so seriously. Something I still have to work on too. So don't think that I'm off the hook here. Not a chance. Like I said before, I'll be the hardest on me than anybody. So good luck trying. So what's going on in New York these days? How's the weather down there?
Oh, it's alright. It's really steamy and hot and everything. I just saw a couple accidents happen, Everyone's all frustrated.
Yeah, there's a lot of that energy floating around, We've got a lot of stuff going on, and couple of conversations I've had with Steve, off the recordings or whatever, there's a lot of stuff going on in the 3D realm. That's us, guys. We're the creators. We're the manifestors of it, and this is what's changing. And this energy is shifting, and it's going to be uncomfortable for a lot of people. It's going to be a lot less uncomfortable for those of us that know what's going on, and there's a whole lot less fear. It's like this: if you were standing on the railway track and didn't have a clue when that train was coming down, and you couldn't hear it, see it, or feel it until it was on you, you'd probably be standing there in a whole lot of fear.
Yeah.
And let's say you only have 3 opportunities to jump off the tracks every day. You'd want to know that you got it right the first time, right? So this is and now what we're doing is standing on those railway tracks with the schedule in our hand. So we just step off and the train goes by, and then as soon as it's gone, we step back on. And we keep moving up the track, check the schedule, oh, here it comes again. Oh, here was another interesting point that Zoe brought up during the conversation yesterday. We are actually, time is on our side, because all the birth dates that we're dealing with are all based in Gregorian, and it's out by 13 days.
Yeah, I always wondered about that.
Yeah, so your birthday is actually 13 days before that. So the birthday that you're dealing with in the Gregorian calendar, and this goes back to, let me get his name right. I love this guy too. He's Ian Lungold.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I know.
Okay, when he did all the presentations on the calendar and how entrapping it was, well, here it is. Because your birthday that you're dealing with that you think in the Gregorian is actually a civil contract. And that's what Zoe and I were talking about yesterday. That's what I wanted to bring up.
Wow.
So that's what brings you into their civil jurisdiction, because you're actually not operating in the correct time. So just another little thing I'll be adding to some paperwork I'm sending out. Again, I don't care who reads it, who sees it, as long as I'm aware of it and I send it out. As far as I'm concerned, it's done.
Put it out. That's all that matters.
Put it out there. Get it out there.
That's it.
Now, if I could just get my headphones to work, that would be great too. I've only got one ear working right now. It's got a loose wire on the one side, so I think I'll have to switch up to my other beat-up headphones. Or actually, I'll go see about maybe getting. I hate the idea of having to get another pair of these, because these are friends to me, Like they've been through the battle with me,
They come along through the journey, right?
Exactly. So it's like I have a mouse for each of the little laptops I've got.
I like seeing things that way, these things that are not alive, but you look at it like it's living.
Well, yeah, they're familiar tools, and they're reliable, and you don't have to worry about them. But the mouse for both my computers are both Fritzen, and both my headphones are. Well, the other ones work great, except that the springs broke, so I'm constantly having to adjust them to keep them on my head. And these had a broken wire in them. Eric fixed them, and it's just the right ear is a loose contact from the left feet. So I'll take them apart and figure it out, or I might have to shorten the wire or something. I don't know, but I'll fix them.
How long ago did you guys have Eve Lungo? How many weeks was that ago?
Oh, he passed away a number of years ago. I'd love to have had a chance to talk with Ian. I'll tell you, one of the documents, if you go to Mayan Magics, the website, they've still got, that was a site that he had put up many years ago regarding the Mayan calendar and the Mayan zodiac and what have you. But he's got it was a couple of years ago I went through these, and I found these to be some of the most profound writings I'd come across. And one of his essays is called Regarding Lack and Loss. And this is really the only realm, and it's going back probably about 10, 12 years ago he wrote it, but this is the only realm that we as gods can experience lack or loss. And there's a whole lot more to it here than that. I'm sure, the higher part of us is having a right giggle at seeing the lower the lower self puppet that it's trying to control. It's like learning a new video game. You've never used the joystick, and I just walked onto a landmine, and I just walked in front of a truck. And that's how I see this. We're trying to commandeer our puppets, meat sticks, or whatever they want to call them, and it's still kind of new. We're still not, countless infinity eons later, we're still screwed.
Lines? Do you see it like that?
What's that?
We're in the front lines.
Oh yeah, I'd say we are. At least that's the way I feel. I feel like I've taken a lick or two for this game, but it was beautiful in that it gave me this perspective, and this illusion is a tough one to break through. There's a lot of letting go that has to happen.
Detachments.
That's it, and it goes right back to that. It's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to enter through the gates of heaven.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Well, to give the analogy some legs, I'll show you. The needle is actually a doorway that they used to have in the old walled cities, and it was only wide enough for a fully unpacked camel to get through, so that no invading armies could just come invading through these needles. They were basically very narrow and difficult to get through. So I'll tell you, if you were going to try to invade, you wouldn't get out the other side very, very quickly. Okay.
Like alleyways.
Yeah.
The other part of the analogy is you can't bring the baggage in.
Right. That's the whole point of it, right? You can't bring anything with you. You got to drop it all at the door. Get rid of the Samsonite, the American tourist.
That's called a needle.
Exactly. And
let's see. I got you.
And those doors are called needles.
Oh, all right.
I love that one because anytime I've said that to people, you all being wiser, I would say, easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle. And you're thinking, yeah, well, the eye of a needle is very small, but it's not the one that you would sew with. That's the clincher. But that's why people need to look deeper into the allegories.
Yeah.
And then you'll see the real meanings there, and they're gorgeous. So you're back, Steve. Yay!
Well, I'm back temporarily, and where there's some weirdly weird energy flows running through the house right now. So.
Oh, no doubt. We were just talking about that while you're away. Lots of interesting energies floating about right now, and what's happening is the unknowing, with that power of creation, are starting to get legs on it. And we're starting to understand that what we do manifests. And as long as we're doing it with the right intent, it will occur. And or with the wrong intent, it's going to come back and slap you in the face. So take your pick.
Reaction, right?
Yeah. Well, again, it's for every action there's an equal and opposite reaction. It's the only thing that Newton said right. But it wasn't involving anything physical for me. That was a completely etherical statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not sure if there's much more that I want to cover tonight. Get myself mentally sorted for tomorrow, and I want to work on a couple of things and bring the open forum again, and hopefully bring some new epiphanies to the table. But I thought I might finish tonight with a song.
Yes.
So I think it was Mim had asked for Only Hearts. That was the intro song. But I'll tell you what, Mim, because grab the archive, and so I feel a whole lot more. No worries. It's not that I don't love the song. I love playing it. It was one of my favorite live songs to play. It's total energy.
But can I make a comment? I don't want you to lose your thought, but
no.
My husband was a musician, and he used to record his songs in our living room and dining room area, and then we'd go out in the garage and we would listen to them and listen to the Moody Blues, and we would have conversations out there very similar to what goes on this call, and the conversation would always be about getting home and going home, and basically it is the distance of the head to the heart. But every time you say that, it just it really brings me back, and I know he's with us, and it is a very special blessing for me that you would play that song. Thank you.
You want Only Hearts? You got it. Here it comes.
Yes.
We'll close.
Thank you.
No worries. See, I'm the soft touch. All right, Only Hearts for Mem and all of you. And this is for you and hubby. All right, kiddo? Here we go. Only Hearts. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Outside the Box here, Open Forum on a Tuesday night. And we'll see you again tomorrow night, same time, same place, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard, midnight to 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Critical Mass Radio. Visit the main site, criticalmassradio.co.uk. And, of course, you can stop by my new little site that Ninja put together, kateofgaia.wordpress.com. So, for you and your hubby, who's standing beside you right now, we close with Only Hearts. Much love to all.
You're not quite sure of you. There's a heart that pounds within you now. Know what must be true. Is the sun forever hiding? Have you still got clouds to see? There I am, the rainbow to guide you. Oh, if you please. Only hearts as strong can weaken. Only hearts as strong can cry. Only hearts that feel the way ours does can understand the why. Only love as strong as kindness can release you from the chains of a love so strong for someone true. Only hearts like ours remain. Are the storm clouds slowly moving? Are the pictures getting clear? You would long not see the heart that's mine. You must know that I am near. I will take you in my arms tonight. I will show you what it means to at last see why, to know the love only hearts like ours can see. Only hearts is strong can weaken. Only hearts is strong can cry. Only hearts that feel the way ours does can understand the why. Only love as strong as kindness can release you from the chains of a love so strong for someone true. Only hearts like ours.